Hello everyone, welcome to another office hours. Let's wait for a few more people to join. In the meantime, if you guys want to see anything in particular or want me to talk about anything regarding features, how to generate an asset, please let us know. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat. Have you all used Cadum before? If not, I can go through a quick tour of our app. So once you sign in, you'll be directed to the assets page. And to start generating an asset, you can either upload your files here or you can generate an image using our text to 2D feature, where you can write a text prompt and this will generate an image for you. And then you can go through your generation settings, you can choose a quality, and as a visual aid for the differences between the generation qualities, you can click compare qualities. Would love help seeing how to apply textures effectively. Sure. So we have 3 different texturing styles. One is projection texturing, stylized, and we also have PBR. So let me show you an example. For projection texturing, we recommend having a straight-on view of your image, and this ensures that your texture will project properly onto your model. For stylized, you can use either an orthographic view or a perspective view, but we still recommend having an orthographic view of your texture as well. And for PBR, this is for more realistic textures, so you can submit an image of the material, which will be then applied to your model. Yes, you guys can share images that you want us to generate. Let me see if I have a link for that. While we grab that link, we can introduce Kaedim for those of you who aren't familiar. Kaedim is an AI startup, and we are building machine learning algorithms to turn images into digital 3D models, as you see here. We have the most accurate game-ready 2D to 3D asset generation pipeline using our AI technology and an in-house art team for quality assurance to make sure that all of our 3D models that we produce for you are game ready. And we are also offering a 5 to 10x speed up to 3D asset creation pipelines. And we're working with a lot of indie game developers and partners like Netflix, Voodoo, Upland, and Azra. And we have a demo video, a web app demo video, and we try to update that monthly, so you can find that on our YouTube channel as well. And our documentation you can find on our website. Yes, if you have an image that you want us to generate, you can send them to support@kaedim3d.com. A few updates. We do have a new learning center in our Create page. So for those of you who are new users, you can access this in the Create page. And it's just a collection of helpful resources for you to learn how to best generate your assets. We also have a Cadum tutorial and basic 3D terminology. Another update we have is for our generate LODs feature. You can now input a percentage for the target poly count. So instead of a value, if you want the poly count to be 10% lower, and you can add as many LODs as needed. So this will be 1 credit per submission, but you can also go to our to your settings under add-ons, and you can subscribe to any of these add-on features, which will give you access to unlimited texturing, unwrapping, or LODs. Okay. I've received the images. I will upload that in a second. All right, let's see if I can find that. There it is. Okay. So we'll go into our create page and find the images. Oh, it looks like the files are too big. Give me 1 second. So I'll just be adding 2 images. So this shows the most information for the generation. So we have a front and a 3/4. And the background will be automatically removed. So as you can see, the background is transparent. And for this, we'll be generating in high. Let's do house. And is there a specific height you want it to be? If not, it'll just set to the default. And okay, everything looks good, so we'll start generating. So once you've submitted that, you'll find it in your assets page, and you'll see which stage it's in. This will be updated throughout the process. If you guys haven't seen our new showcase page, I highly recommend it as well. We try to update this weekly with new assets for you to view. And we have different examples of different generation qualities as well. So we have some assets that were generated in high quality, ultra, and standard. So this just gives you an idea of what each generation quality can provide, and also what type of assets would be best for each quality as well. Okay, and then we've just received the second photo, so I'll be downloading that. And for this character, we can also do high since she doesn't have too many accessories. Yes, there is a way to see the input images for the showcase. Let me show that really quickly. It is displayed on the bottom left. You can also see the wireframe. And please feel free to keep dropping questions in the chat. I will try my best to answer all of them. So another way to texture your assets is to use our fill color tool. So this is a manual process where you select a mesh and you can fill in the colors here. You can also apply different textures or color effects. and you'll be able to export your model along with the textures by downloading the FBX. Yes, John is our customer support engineer. He is able to provide you guys with support on our Discord. So you can queue as many assets as you need at the same time, but they will generate in one after the other, so not simultaneously. So once this finishes, then this one will start processing. And to keep track of all your iterations and all your edits done on your models, you can find all of your recent activity here. If you guys want to see any asset in particular in my assets page, you can let me know and I can send over a link so that you guys can view it in 3D as well. When you manually select textures or mesh, are you usually able to select whatever you like? So it depends on how the meshes are separated. So usually most of the meshes are separate. So as you can see, the brim of his hat is separate from the hat itself. So you can just select that and choose a color. You can also merge meshes here. If you'd like to, for example, merge the eyes so that they're one mesh, you can merge that. And if you want the model to be a single mesh, you can click select all over here. And once you submit that, it will show up as one mesh. What about applying something like wood grain, brick, or stone? Okay, so for more realistic textures, we have an example of PBR here. So this was a wooden texture. Our PBR textures include the normal, color, and roughness maps. So this is better for more realistic texturing. So for this one, I used the original input image to apply the texture, but alternatively, you can also submit a square image of, or a flat image of just the material that you want to apply, and you can also texture through that. We'd also love to know what you're using Kaedim for. We always love hearing about your projects and what you're working on. So let us know. And if you guys aren't too familiar with 3D modeling or 3D in general as well, and are having a hard time choosing which generation quality to use for your model, essentially each generation quality has a limit of, or a set limit of poly counts. So for standard, this has the lowest poly count. And what that means is if you go into your model and show the wireframe, each of these squares are called polygons, and that's what your model is made up of. So the more polygons you have, the more detailed your model is, just because they're able to capture more detail. So for example, this has a poly count of 45,000, and this one had 126,000. So you can see that the polygons are much denser. So the higher generation quality you have, the more polys your model will have, and it will capture more detail, and it may also be, the silhouette might also be smoother as well. (3D models, 3D printed models, and 2D character designs. That's cool. So if you're planning on animating your characters, we recommend having them in A or T pose. Let me show you what T pose looks like. So this was a character that I generated, and I wanted to animate this character in Blender. So for my 2D designs, I made sure that she was posed in T-pose, and this just made it easier to rig. And if you're planning on using an auto rigging program as well, this makes it a lot easier to rig your characters so that you can animate them later. Can I give references? Wait. Can I give reference to an image for generating the texture? Do you mind elaborating? I'm not sure what you're referring to. If you mean giving an additional image to textures or for texturing, yes, you can upload both the front and back view. So you can click this and upload your texture image. And the same is for stylized and PBR. So for 2D designs, you can also use traditional hand-drawn designs. So you don't always need a full turnaround of your character. As long as you have the front view or 3/4 view and it shows most of the character, Cadum will be able to generate your character. You guys have teased the idea of generating models that live within an environment, like a room with all the stuff in it versus singular objects. Can you tell us where you are in that development? So we are still working on, finding ways to make that happen. It's definitely on our roadmap, but currently we don't have enough details to share specifics. But as always, we'll keep you guys updated. We'll keep you guys updated on our documentation and social media. And if you guys have any more suggestions, please let us know. We always love hearing from our users, and that's also what we use to help prioritize what we release sooner. And if you haven't seen our documentation, we have a full list of all of the things we're working on here, and also our releases. If you also have a specific workflow, for example, for 3D printing or animation, you can always book a product tour with us, and we can try and help figure out how we can best help you in your workflow. One of my biggest issues with characters and Cadum is getting the open mouth to rig so they can talk. How would you recommend going about submitting images for this with mouth both open and closed? So I think the best way would be to submit an image of the, let me think, maybe of the mouth open, so that you'll already have that mesh of like the open mouth. And that might be easier to rig. Currently we can't really provide different versions of both the mouth open and closed, but Actually, you can probably generate um, the character with the mouth open and then use our iteration feature to um, edit the mouth to be closed. That might be a good solution for you. So for example, if his mouth were open, you can circle it and say, close the mouth. Looks wonky when the mouth is closed. Yeah, that's probably because of the deformations that happen. But yeah, give the iterate model a try and let us know how it goes. If you're on our Discord, we can also discuss this and we can help you out as well. And if you guys have any specific use cases and have any suggestions for how to make, for us to make, the app easier for you guys, let us know. So our house is finalizing, so it should be done soon. And for the house model, here's an example of what we got when we tried to automatically apply the mesh. We'll take a look at that for you. And we'd love to know more about your workflows as well. If you're using other tools with Cadum, for example, other programs like Blender, or what you use to rig, that would be really helpful feedback as we keep improving the app. Suggestion: if you could prototype a model with a smaller number of credits, and then when things are in a good place with the 3D model, you can upgrade it with more credits. Yes, so we are working on an upgrade feature, and that is a really good suggestion to be able to prototype. So do you mean just like more of a block out, not really having much detail? Awesome. Yeah, we think the prototype idea is really good. It would also be really useful for game development. Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you for the suggestion. So for these blockouts, are you mostly looking at the accuracy of the proportions? Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely keep that in mind. Let's see. So you made a fish with 2 credits and it came back with one of its fins too small. Yeah, if you're on our Discord, that would definitely be something I would bring up, and we can regenerate it for you. But yeah, that's definitely something we'll keep in mind. I think by default, we try to process the models as close to your input image as possible, so the proportion shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, that is an issue, so you can let us know if you're part of the Discord. And if your model is symmetrical and you want both sides to be exactly the same, we also have an option for you to click Symmetry here, and that will make sure that your model is perfectly symmetrical. Can you generate hand-drawn images into 3D model? Yes, we do have some examples. So this was a hand-drawn image. So this was the image I uploaded. The background has been removed. And this is what it came out with. We also have this snowman example. So this was the image, and the generation, and then I was able to color it. Yeah, the symmetry option is a bit hidden away. We might have to fix that as well. And do you animate these characters? I know you mentioned rigging as well. Nice. If you could let us know. Oh, awesome. So you use AccuRig. Yeah, if you could drop your specific workflows, that would help us out in improving the app as well. And if you're part of our Discord, please feel free to message us there too. And we do these live streams every week, so if you guys have any suggestions for future live streams, we would love to hear them. And we are thinking of inviting guests as well to our live streams. So if you have any specific use case that you'd want to see the process of, for example, someone who does 3D printing, someone who does animation or game development, please let us know which you would be most interested in. And we also have new case studies up on our website, so you can check that out. So this is with a game studio called Upland. And we also have a new case study with Myth Studio, who is an animation studio. On the iterate option, is there a way to stylize the entirety of an image? For example, make the house look more magical or make this character more abstract? Currently, no. Our iterate feature is mostly for specific edits that you want to make for the model, and but that is a good suggestion. Currently, I think the only way is to generate your input image with that prompt. But for now, our iterate feature doesn't really take into account different styles. But that is a good idea as well. And if you use any other programs, we do have plugins for these 4 different programs. So we have very in-depth tutorials on our documentation on how to use these plugins. And if you do use these plugins in your preferred program, you can load assets and generate assets from or within that program without having to switch back and forth. Can we see the model for the house with the snowman on the asset page? Yes. So this this picture originally had a lot of things obscuring the front, So that's why we see some of the background removal has removed some of the parts of the house. But as long as you have enough detail within the image, it will be able to kind of fill that in. It just won't be as detailed. As you can see, the back is very plain just because we didn't provide a back view image. And even captured the little snowman. Let me check if this was in high. So this was in ultra. Yes. Honestly, I think this could have been generated in high. I just wanted to kind of test and see how all the details would look. And you can see that even these little light posts were captured as well. Brick texture and shingles. Yeah, that the brick wasn't captured. I think that the image maybe was too compressed for Kaedim to be able to see all of the specific, though it does have some detail here as well. I think for a more like singular object, since the house was kind of made up of many parts, if you do generate it in ultra, it will give you the most accuracy. So for example, for this table, it was able to capture all of these embellishments on the table. Are there any other assets you guys would like to see? So for this one, I textured it with just the fill color tool. So I chose the mirror option because it was the closest to the input image. You can also sample from your image. This is probably best for more stylized assets. So I can show an example here. So you can pick your mesh and then color pick from the image. That just makes it really easy to color in your assets really quickly. And you always have to click save so that it saves as a new version in your assets page. So when you use the fill color tool and hit save, you'll see a new version usually. Fill color is also free to use, so this doesn't require any credits or a subscription. So you can play around with this, and yeah, it generated it added a new version. So I think a good a good use case for this would be if you wanted, different color variations of your prop or your character. You can easily do that with the fill color tool. And if you guys want to share your assets, you can click the share button here, or you can also do it through 3D Studio, and you can copy the link so you can send that or share that anywhere, and this is what the 3D viewer will look like. I think adding features to that toolset is a great place to innovate. Yes. Yeah, so we are always looking to add new features as well as improving our current features. So yeah, all of your suggestions are always super helpful, and we love hearing about, how you use Cadum. And I'm wondering how you guys found out about Kaedim as well. Can you demo the way to upload a 3D asset instead of an image to build out a model? Way too much time on Google. Yeah. So this is actually, so I've been working on our web app demo, which will be posted today actually. So this was one of the models I generated, and just for the web app demo, I downloaded this as an FBX, and I uploaded that here just to showcase the upload 3D model feature. So how you would do that is go over here to the create page and click on upload 3D model. Once you do that, it's kind of the same process as uploading an image. You can either drag and drop or just upload. Let me see if I can find an FBX. So we have an FBX of a knife here. So it'll show up in your 3D viewer. You can name it. Oops. And this is really useful for, if you've modeled your own 3D model and want to use Kaedim's features, you can definitely do that. Let's see if it'll show up. The user wants to use a less than perfect photogrammetry app to get a model, then having Kaedim refine it in their process. Yeah, so if you do upload a model, you can iterate it as well. and you'll probably have to describe the exact changes you want to make. And yeah, I think that would work for that use case. In addition to this, it might include assets we don't want in a final image instead of just a house. Is this about the background removal tool or? So in terms of uploading an image, as I mentioned, it automatically removes the background. But especially if you have a lot of things in your image that you don't really want to be generated, we highly recommend editing those out first, just so there's no confusion with the generation. With photogrammetry, it pulls in a lot of stuff that would need to be removed. Yeah, that's definitely something you can fix with Cadum. So yeah, as I said, you would simply, circle all the parts that you want to be removed. For example, like if there were artifacts here, you could just ask, describe in the text box which parts you want to smooth out, and so on. Yes, we do make sure that all of our models have really clean topology, just because we work with a lot of game developers, and that just makes their pipeline much easier if they can directly import from Cadum to their game engine. So we make sure that the model has really clean topology, and that they're mostly quads. And all of the models from Kaedim are also watertight. So this is really useful for 3D printing as well. Is there any real advantage to starting with a 3D model instead of an image? So for uploading 3D models, we've added this as an option just for example, if you're a game developer and you already have previous assets that you want to either texture or iterate, you will be able to do that with Cadum. So for example, if I uploaded a model of this character and I wanted to add something to him, like a letter in his hand, I can easily do that with Cadum. Or if I wanted to edit his hat, for example, that would be really easy. So if you already have existing assets, you can always edit them through Cadum as well. But otherwise, generating from an image is really easy, and you'll be able to, really customize how the asset will look like with our generation qualities and all of our settings here. Size limitations on 3D model uploads. So it's up to 50 MB. Maybe Kaedim could pull a house out of the image more easily than it would be to remove trees and bushes from images, because the tree would be separate from the house. My assumption is that photogrammetry can create distance between the house and the landscape more easily so it can be removed. Yeah, that's a good thought. Yeah, for now, our best advice for not having those sorry. I'm not sure which link. Would anyone be interested in seeing a guest on our live streams as well? And if so, what would you want to see? Would you want to see their process with Cadum, or would you want to just learn more about them, more of like a Q&A discussion? Let me know. And we do have a frequently asked questions as well in our documentation. So you can find super helpful information here as well. Again, if you have a specific workflow or you just want a more personalized discussion about how to use Cadum, you can always book a product tour here, or you can click on this little button on the bottom right, and you can also book the product tour through here. And during these product tours, we try to talk about your workflows and if we have any specific tips for your specific workflow. So this is another great example for the iterations. As you can see, we have a lot of different versions of this house. So the iteration feature is also really helpful for prototyping. It's a really quick and easy way to get different versions of your model. And since all of the versions get saved here, it's really easy to go back and download specific versions as well. Another option is if you've downloaded a model from Cadum and you've, for example, edited the model in Blender or another program, you can upload that version to Cadum here. You can upload the FBX, and you can keep working on it on Cadum as well. Are there any assets you would like to see in our showcase? We try to have a lot of variety in these, so some, more organic character models and also some more hard surface models as well, just to kind of give you an idea of the different types. And has anyone tried the text to 2D feature? Where we don't have to manually remove trees, bushes, etc. from images by creating these houses via photogrammetry as a texture 3D mesh, and then let Kaedim extract the house since the bushes won't be flat. Yes, so you can upload the photogrammetry model to Kaedim and use the iteration feature to remove some parts of the asset. For example, if you wanted to remove the handle, you could just circle it like this and say remove handle. So that's a really easy way to edit your models as well, whether or not they were made in Cadum. So we're trying to open the link, but it doesn't seem to be working. If you'd like to book a meeting with us to discuss this further, we would love to discuss this with you, and kind of give you solutions for your workflow. Are there any other features you guys would like me to talk about? here, let me see if I can open up the link that you've sent. Yeah, you can go ahead and book a meeting with us as well. So we see your model here. Yeah, so this can definitely be edited in Cadum. You can simply, ask to just remove all of the background elements and just keep the house. So what is your specific use case for this? Is this for, are you making environments for a game, or how are you planning on using this asset? Yes, the models are still in queue. They may take a little bit longer just because we generated them in high and ultra. For standard models, it usually only takes 15 minutes just because it doesn't require too much detail, but for high and ultra generations, it may take a bit longer. Did you have a chance to texture that small building that Clark had sent earlier? So we didn't actually see the texture file, but Clark, if you're on our Discord server, and if you need help with texturing, you can go ahead and message us there. But otherwise, for this asset, which is still finalizing, we think since you have the front and side view, you could probably either use projection or PVR, but for projection, you have to note that it only textures the front and back, so the sides may not be detailed. "3D printing of small houses." That's cool. Yeah, we work with a lot of users that 3D print, and we've helped them out a lot on our Discord. I know there are very specific, specifications for 3D printing. So we like to make sure that all of the models adhere to those guidelines. We had issues with the automatic texturing. Yes, so if you have issues, please let us know and we'll make sure to address those. Currently, we are trying to improve our automatic texturing, so all of the feedback from you guys has helped a lot in improving the feature. Were you using projection texturing, or was it another type of texturing? I think we mainly need to know what the steps are because what I did didn't work very well. Is there a way to use the existing images that were uploaded to generate the model to also texture it on all sides, not just the front and back? Yes. So if you go into, usually you would need all of the sides of the image for this to work. But you can go into automatic texturing, stylized, and you can upload a left, right, and front and back view. Yeah, so we do have 3 different options to choose from: image projection, stylized, and PBR. We have a video on our YouTube showcasing how to use each one of them and also how the results look like for each texturing style. So for image projection, it's essentially copy pasting your image onto the model. So that's why we advise having a straight on view of your texture, just because, for example, if your model was faced this way, the texture will be directly applied like this, and then on the back as well. Yes, please do send a link to the support email. We'd love to look into what happened. And then for stylized, this texture is based on the meshes. So it pulls from the image that you've submitted. It pulls the color from that image and applies it to each mesh. So this is why we recommend it more for if you don't have an orthographic view of your textures. And if you only have a stylized view. And then for PBR, this is for more realistic looking textures. If you're familiar with the different texture maps, currently our PBR textures include normal maps, roughness, and the color maps. And so for this one, you can simply upload either just a front view of your model with the texture applied, or you can also upload just a tile, like a 1x1 square of the material. So an example of this is for this bunny. I uploaded an image of just the plush material, and so that applied it to the whole mesh.
Oh, so let's see. Bro, we have a really nice competition. Yeah. Oh, with the view. Who's the fucking space? That's what he likes. Alright, guys, you guys. Alright, hands together.
Yes, as John mentioned, we can rotate your model to match the camera position in the image to produce better results. This would be for the projection texturing. If the camera for the model matches the angle of your textures, then this will have better results. But yes, orthographic view is always the best option for projection. Yeah, John, you can send those on Discord. We're always happy to help. And if you have other assets as well that you need help with, please send them over on Discord as well. So it looks like our assets are ready. We might have to refresh. Let's take a look. So our character is ready. This is what it looks like. Yeah, if you have very specific questions about texturing, please let us know. This also helps us figure out what we need to be more clear on in terms of our documentation and yeah, please let us know. Any feedback is always super helpful. So this is how our fox character turned out. I'm not sure if whoever submitted this is still on the stream, but this is how it turned out. And we may have to end the stream here. As always, I will send a link to the 3D viewer for both of these assets, both for this fox and the house, once it's done generating. But thank you guys so much for joining the stream and for asking questions. If you have any suggestions for future streams, please let me know. Let us know in the Discord or wherever in the comments once the replay is posted. You can also find our replays in our YouTube channel. We have a dedicated playlist for all of our past live streams. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining. And we'll see you next week. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.